We have a very brief agenda, which is on the wiki. Actually, for those people who've not joined these calls in the past, we usually post the agenda ahead of time. Today it was like posted just now, so not quite on time. But we also don't have a very long agenda. We also we always post them on the wiki, and on the wiki we always post a link to the recording so people can watch it later. And we usually try to summarize the minutes as well. All right, so we have one major item on the agenda today, and then we have some announcements like plugs of various. Hey, Phil. Phil is berating me on ISE. He gets credit for doing that, though. I hate being berated on Slack. What was I saying? Yeah, we have one major agenda item, which is like going to 3.8. So we talked about that in the last project call. And in the meantime, like sort of the GNU Radio leadership has had some, we've made some decisions and we sort of came up with a plan a little bit. And since Marcus is the chief technical owner of GNU Radio, I'll just hand it off to Marcus for telling us how that's going to work.
Hey, thanks. So, as promised, GNU Radio 3.8 is coming closer and closer every day. And as a matter of fact, what we did exactly 1 week ago is that we introduced a feature freeze, which means that we're not taking up any new tasks in terms of features for the 3.8 release. So that means we have quite a good idea of what's going to be in there with GNU Radio. We've written most of the things. Like there's only a logging change coming up because we're kind of limited by the current logging dependency we use. To avoid that, we'll have to rewrite that. This is the only feature that's coming up. So GNU Radio 3.8 in all this Python 3, Qt5, less boost, more C++ 11 glory will be available pretty soon. So what does pretty soon mean? I know this is a vague term, and to be honest, I can't be any more specific as we're kind of limited on man hours. So if you go to GitHub, see GNU Radio/GNU Radio, and then click on the projects button, you'll see the 3.8 release project. And basically, yes, sorry?
If you can like highlight my view, like I've shared that project on.
Your screen crashed like usual, so no. I can't see it.
Oh.
So
I can see it perfectly.
Yeah, let's see your screen. So I'm sorry. So Martin's trying to share the view of the project page, and if you saw that, you'd see 4 columns, but there's 3 important ones. There's one column with like probably the most items in there. This is things that we've dedicated ourselves to have in 3.8. And obviously, this is work that needs to be done until we can release that. So if you feel like helping 3.8 get here quicker, faster, stronger, then please go in there and just like click on one of these issues, see if you can comment on them, can dedicate some time to that. And if you can, just write a comment on that issue, let us know, because then we can move that issue from the dedicated to work in progress bar and get it closer to completion. So that's really like how we're gonna do that. That's pretty awesome. Then Marvin has been basically this is mainly a thing that Martin introduced, and I'm very thankful for that. We have GREPs, GNU Radio Enhancement Process, let's call them documents, and we have them in a separate repo. The link will be posted with the video link, and these will be these describe larger features or the directions we're going to go into, or general rules for coding and stuff. And among these are such things as what logging should look like, or how to handle dependencies, or these larger things. So if you feel like GNU Radio is taken in a direction that you don't like, do feel free to open a pull request against these grabs, or to comment on these that are currently open. So this is pretty fine. So then we have a lot of open pull requests currently on the GitHub tracker. I'm trying to crush them, rule them, merge them. It's pretty possible that I'm going to do that during the Hackfest in Brussels, which we'll be talking about in a minute, I guess. So if you have any of these open and want my input on something, or need to comment on something, do please go in there, because honestly, this is getting all very close. So we're going to sort this out pretty soon. Yeah, so this is basically what I wanted to say about how I plan for 3.8 to be released. The mechanics of that will be that we'll have a pre-release release candidate that we hope works well. If it works well, we'll go in there and have a big reformatting commit, so that our code base feels nicer to work with for once in 10 years. And then if that still doesn't break down, we'll have another release candidate. And if that works, then we have a release, which means that at that point, I'm going to take a release 3.8. We're going to have a maintenance 3.8 branch, as you know it currently from the 3.7 branch. And then we'll live happily ever after, I guess. So yeah, that's how it's going to go down.
Thanks. So, you know, on the living happily ever after, I'm just going to expand a little bit. And I mean, I don't know if anyone can see my screen right now. Probably not. But I'm still going to pull up the grabs. The grabs is where we want to publish what we will be working on. Like, we don't want this to be a secret, because for several reasons. First of all, we don't want stuff to change and be a surprise to people. But also, we want to give people the option to participate in changes. And of course, if someone else has major changes they want to suggest, like going through the grabs is the right way to do that. And we've talked about the grabs in the past, so I won't expand upon it. But it's basically a written project suggestion. And I'm gonna, you know, show one, for example. Like, I don't know if you can see it. There's grep 15 remove swig. Which is posted as a draft, which means we don't know if we're going to do this. But it's like something just to inform the greater community that we are thinking about this. We posted this document which says we want to replace swig with something else. That's literally what it says in the grep. We don't know exactly what, but we have some ideas. So we wrote this document that says, yeah, we want to change it, and these would be the consequences, and this is the amount of work. This is some general ideas. And then eventually Marcus will say, okay, no, we can't do that, for example. So we're going to close the grep, but we won't delete it. So which means the discussion about why we closed it will still be there. Or Marcus might say, okay, yes, we're doing this, which means we will add some more detail, change it to active, and then someone will take over. So we have a lot of stuff coming in terms of, you know, we have a lot of ideas. And I think for a long time we were just trapped in this whole 3.8 development, like weren't really able to add features and, you know, work on GNU Radio itself properly. And I think as we come out of 3.8, we will be able to do that. Okay, so thanks, Marcus, for the update. And that really, just gonna try and stop sharing my screen if I.
You don't have to.
Yeah. Right, does he? Okay, no one can see it anyway. Yeah, which means we have a couple of announcements. So we will be applying for Google Summer of Code. So I would like to extend my gratitude to Felix, who will be, for the second time in a row, the org mentor for GSOC and radio. We have a list of projects, which is the most important thing of our application. So if you have ideas for what students could work on during GSOC, writing them to that list would be very helpful. But please make sure at this point to keep the list nice and clean. Like, we don't throw out sort of unfinished ideas onto that list. A couple of other announcements. So FOSDEM is coming up. It's a bit more than 2 weeks from now, on February 2nd and 3rd in Brussels. So you can come there. You don't need to register or anything. It's free. You just need to find a room, which is probably a bit expensive at this point in time, but you could still do it. Come to Brussels, join us for the Free Software Radio Dev Room, which is sort of a subset of FOSDEM. But FOSDEM itself is just also a fantastic event. So I would highly recommend people, if they can make it, spend their weekend in Brussels and join like the majority, like a lot of open source developers. Before the FOSDEM, but also in Brussels, it will be a Hackfest. Marcus, can you give some feedback, some content?
So that Hackfest is going to happen at a Hackspace, the HSBXL Hackfest, and we'll be there basically by Thursday all day. Some of us will arrive on Thursday night to Friday. It will happen on Thursday and Friday. We will basically be sitting together, exchanging ideas, getting code done, getting stuff done. This is mainly what Hackfests are done for, like things that are easy to do if you're in a room with other motivated people that you can ask when you have something heavy. And there will be some GNU Radio related talks. I'm very thankful for Derek, who's gonna hold 2 talks about an introduction, or workshops actually, an introduction to GNU Radio, especially aimed at a ham radio audience, and I will do a little workshop based on that, which will be a little more advanced in terms of math. So be sure to get your thinking hats with you. Yeah, and other than that, we'll basically be sitting in probably a darkened room and be hacking. Black hoodies are optional, but strongly encouraged. So yeah, this is simply gonna be fun. If you can, drop in. If you can't, we'll also, most of us, probably all of us that are in Brussels that weekend, will be at the beer event and at the, as Martin said, on the free software dev room session. So see us there.
The final plug that we want to do, the final event that we want to plug is the French GNU Radio Days. They are on the 2nd and 3rd of July. Wait a minute.
No, 17th and 18th of July.
Yeah, exactly. So I pulled up. Yeah. I think they also renamed it to European GNU Radio Days.
Yeah.
So I was looking at that. Which is, of course, me as a... I mean, it kind of seems silly to call myself Europe. I love Europe, but I moved to the United States. I still do. Europe is great. Countries shouldn't leave the EU. And on the 17th and 18th of June, there will be the 2nd European GNU Radio Days. There we go.
In Besançon.
Besançon, by the way, beautiful place. I know it's difficult to get there. I spent a lot of my childhood in that area on various vacations. Going to Besançon area and also other areas of France made me want to study in France for a while, which I did. I'm getting totally ahead of myself now.
So it's actually not that badly reachable from Germany by train. So kind of works if you leave the train in Frankfurt or take another airport that is closer to that. I don't care. I don't take that personal.
You can also go there by canoe. It's reachable.
No, actually, really consider going there. We will be present there. I'm not quite sure who us will be. I'm trying to sort my dates out. Derek is, others are. So hopefully this will work out, and we'll be present there in some form or other, some person or other. So see you there.
Yeah, and in general, I just love the fact that we're having more and more GNU Radio events.
It's not just Europe, which is way cooler than the US, where you moved, leaving us behind.
Okay, Marcus. How about we quibble over that outside of this call? So thanks everyone who joined in to listen in or listens to this recording. Thanks to everyone who contributed to GNU Radio in 2018, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing all of you and more people contributing to GNU Radio in 2019 again. We have some great ideas ahead of us. There's plenty of interesting projects people can get involved in. If you like anything remotely related to GNU Radio, and that just doesn't include SDI. I mean, it could be GUI development. It could be, it could be SDI, obviously, like a DSP stuff. It could be, a computer scientific approach to the GNU Radio schedule, whatever you want. There's stuff to be done, and not only is it good for GNU Radio, I think there's also some really, really interesting research problems to be solved in this domain. So if you have one of your New Year's resolutions is to be more active in the open source world, I can just welcome you to the GNU Radio community if you want to join us. Thank you very much. All right, that's it from us. I'll hope to see you at FOSDEM, and we will have, let's pull up the dates. The next call is on February 21st, usual time, which means same time as this call. Yeah, bye-bye.